Have you ever heard of, am I pronouncing this right, Lucas? Is this Gabe Neitzel? Is that how we do it? Is it Neitzel? All right, let's go with it. Gabe Neitzel, Dibs.
Yeah.
He is a radio professional. I
apologize to Neitzels everywhere if I say that I've never heard of him. But it sounds like he's from either Minnesota or Wisconsin or one of the Dakotas. Neitzel. Sounds like he's named after a pretzel. Can I get some extra salt on my Neitzel?
A little Neitzel.
Yeah.
So Schnitzel works for ESPN Milwaukee.
There you go.
Okay, ESPN Milwaukee. This is from the Jen, Gabe, and Chewy show. Okay.
Your Chewy's really good.
Except for in this case, you know who Chewy is? It's Mark Chmura.
Oh, I thought it was Chewy Gomez.
No.
Guy doing radio next door to us.
Mark Chmura used to be a Green Bay Packer tight end.
I've heard of him.
Then for a while he was accused of something awful, and then he came out of that.
Acquitted.
And he got a job at ESPN Milwaukee.
Acquitted by a jury of his peers.
Yes.
We actually were Googling it earlier.
Yes, he was.
Because I had the same reaction you did of,
well, they played
ISDN behind bars?
Yeah, they played this. They played this morning, and I'm listening to Joe and Bonte, and Bonte had the same reaction I did. Here, like, Mark Chmura said something. He's like, Mark Chmura's in radio? That's not what I thought happened to Mark Chmura. And I'm like, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I can't believe this guy's just hanging out in Milwaukee doing radio. But
acquitted.
Yeah.
Acquitted.
Who knew?
Yeah.
Well, that's the dangers of stuff like this, right? Once you hear it, then you don't necessarily hear the follow-up story, which is not as much of a headline grabber. But anyway, back to Schnitzel. Here's Gabe telling everybody who the best quarterback on the field is going to be on Saturday.
After that 2010 run that Aaron Rodgers had, as a Packers fan, you knew you could win any game when you had the best quarterback on the field. The Packers are going to have the best quarterback on the field on Sunday or Saturday night. If they win that game, they'll have the best quarterback on the field, NFC Championship game on Sunday. Like, anytime you have the advantage at that position, it makes you feel great. Now, it's not the end-all be-all because the 49ers have a really damn good roster, but when you start at that position, and as important as that position is, as slanted as it can become, I mean, we've been talking about field tilters all season long. At that position, to have the best one, to have the field tilting in your direction because of that guy, it makes you feel like you got a chance. I understand they're 10-point dogs, but when you've got the best player on the field, hell, man, you got a chance to pull it off.
Wow.
Best player on the field.
Best player on the field.
So there's two things. Best quarterback, we can have that discussion, but best player on the field, even when they're on offense, he might be the third best player on the field at the best, because he's going to be on the field with Nick Bosa and Fred Warner. Mm-hmm. And I think those two players are better players than either quarterback. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
So, I mean, Bosa and Warner greater than Purdy and Love. So he won't be the best player on the field when he's on the field.
I mean, it's a matter of perspective. I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah. That's my perspective.
I've argued a lot that it's not a fair argument. Like, if I said Christian McCaffrey is the best player on the field, no one's going to get at me. But I would still, and I'd argue this till the end, and we don't need to do it today or ever again for that matter. Hopefully they win the Super Bowl. But I'd argue until the end of the day, every day, that if I had to play one of these playoff games without McCaffrey or Purdy, McCaffrey is sitting down, because I think you got a better chance of winning a football game with Purdy and Eli Mitchell than you do Darnold and McCaffrey. You can argue that. I get it. I totally hear your point. That's me. That's the importance of the quarterback position. So from that perspective, Neitzel has a point. He's got a point. But his premise is wildly flawed. Not that you can't have the opinion. If you work for ESPN Milwaukee, of course you think Jordan Love is the best quarterback on the field. And if you work for 95.7 The Game, maybe you think Brock Purdy is the best quarterback on the field. But to speak to this the way that he did, where it is such a foregone conclusion, to the point where the man, and I'll play it again for you, he can't even acknowledge the presence of Brock Purdy. Listen to his opportunity and how he passes on it. He had the opportunity to at least respect the man who's going to finish top 3 in the MVP voting. He had an opportunity to at least respect him, and he passed on that opportunity. Listen to it one more time.
After that 2010 run that Aaron Rodgers had, as a Packers fan, you knew you could win any game when you had the best quarterback on the field. The Packers are going to have the best quarterback on the field on Sunday or Saturday night. If they win that game, they'll have the best quarterback on the field, NFC Championship game on Sunday. Anytime you have the advantage at that position, it makes you feel great. Now, it's not the end-all, be-all because the 49ers have a really damn good roster.
Boom.
But when you start at that position, and as important as that position is, as slanted as it can become, we've been talking about field tilters all season long. At that position, to have the best one, to have the field tilting in your direction because of that guy, it makes you feel like you got a chance. I understand they're 10-point dogs, but when you've got the best player on the field, hell, man, you got a chance to pull it off.
The field tilting in your favor?
He's a field tilter.
Okay, hold on a second. Gabe, you're right. Jordan Love's the best quarterback in the NFC. Let's go there. The field, therefore, is tilted in your favor.
He's a field tilter.
When the guy that has the ball on the other end of the field had, 31 touchdowns, 11 picks, 4,280 yards, a completion percentage of 69.4, and the 5th highest quarterback rating in the history of the NFL. There's two different things going on here. You can think Jordan Love is better, but to decide that you have some clear edge at the position, and then even when you had your opportunity, look, it's not the end-all, be-all, because the Niners have a really good quarterback too, is not what he said. It's not the end-all, be-all, because the Niners have a good roster.
They have a good roster. Yeah.
It's never going to end?
No.
It's never, ever going to end until he shoves it up everybody's wahoo.
Well, because you look at just the numbers, and if you don't watch Brock Purdy all year, and you look at the numbers between the two, you look at the touchdowns, and Jordan Love had more, and the interceptions, they had the same number.
One more touchdown, by the way, just so we have it. 32 to 31.
It's
almost identical.
I'm laying out the facts from the Nitzel side of the ledger.
Fire away.
When you don't watch Brock Purdy, and you do watch Jordan Love, and you watch what Jordan Love did over the last 9 games, 7 wins, 2 defeats, 1 interception, and you look at the yards, and he only had 121 yards fewer than Brock Purdy. Forget the fact that he threw 135 more passes. That doesn't matter if you're trying to make the argument for your guy. You look at whatever numbers you want to look at. You don't look at QB rating.
Sure.
You don't look at TD percentage or interception percentage, although Jordan Love had a better interception percentage than Brock Purdy in terms of number of throws versus number of picks. You look at what you want to see, and yeah, Jordan Love is playing great. But the thing that always cracks me up about these arguments is when you try to compare quarterback versus quarterback, because these two gentlemen will not go head-to-head for even one snap. So if you want to talk about Jordan Love against the Niner defense or Brock Purdy against the Packer defense, that really is what matters. So when he's on the field, Jordan Love, he's not going to be the best player on the field. And if he is under the kind of pressure that I think he's going to be under, I don't think that he's going to have the day that he had in Dallas.
If we count the game at Dallas, and I don't know why we wouldn't, but if we go ahead and count that, his record on the road this year is 5-5.
Right.
So do whatever you want with that.
Yeah.
5-5.